Hey, what's up guys? John here. 1 in 7 houses in America last year was sold to a private equity firm. Pretty crazy. We're not hearing about this. 1 in 5 starter homes was sold to a private equity firm or a large corporation. Right? Think about what's happening here. Last couple of years, we were told that, we were going to combat inequality, make things better for everybody. Everyone's going to benefit, greatly benefit. We're going to do things to level out the playing field. But it seems like the only thing getting leveled is the middle class. Now, before I begin in this video, please take a moment and hit the like button. Hit the like button. YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people about what's going on in the economy. Now, when you have 1 in 5 starter homes sold to Wall Street, this is something we all have to pay attention to, because what I think is going to happen here is now they're already starting this. So right now, California corporate landlords say the biggest problem they have is a face-off with regulators. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that regulators and these corporate landlords are working together. I think that they're, they respect each other and they both know their place. And corporate buyers, right, they say that they're hiring high-profile PR execs and lobbying Washington regulators to convince opponents that this is a good thing, right? They really want everyone to think it's a good thing, because how they position it is quite simple. They say, you know what? The down payment is too expensive. The upkeep is too expensive. Everything that this property represents is a big expense that you can't afford. I can buy this for you, and you could rent it from me. It'll be affordable. It'll be a good thing for you. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really have an option. I guess I have to. I have no choice, right? They rent it. They give them maybe an affordable rent in the beginning, but over time they just continue increasing rents, just like how Facebook did with online advertising. 7 years ago, advertising on Facebook was affordable. Now advertising on Facebook, it's a different game. It's very expensive, when in reality the net cost for Facebook to complete an advertising campaign for you is not that expensive. They get the data and information for free, just like these private corporations are doing with the loans. They're paying 1%, 2% loans. They're getting the money for free, and they're buying the houses up and they're renting them back to the general public. I think what they're going to do next 1, 2, 3 years is they're going to slowly start moving into like this dorm room style living, to where they can bring rents down even lower, but they can extract more net revenue from each house. And it's also going to remove any type of idea of 100% vacancy. If they have 5 or 6 people in a 3-bedroom house, 2 people sharing a room, if 2 people move out, they're still 80% occupied, right? So they're still fully occupied. They're still making money. They're still doing very well. They're going to be moving into this very, very quickly. Even look at American Homes for Rent, right? They just got a $500 million loan for acquisitions to build single-family houses. $500 million loan. So they received $500 million, and now they're going to be able to go out there and probably take out loans against land and assets to actually build and buy more. So they might have $2 billion, $2.5 billion in purchasing power with this $500 million loan, right? That they got from an investor, right? And now big landlords, this just came out today, big landlords jump into home building business as demand for single-family rental surges, right? As demand for single-family rental home surges, big landlords are jumping into home building business to shore up falling supplies. As push comes and more Americans have flexibility to work from anywhere and are looking for larger spaces with outdoor areas, this market is very undersupplied. There's not enough quality homes for the number of American families, said the CEO of American Homes for Rent, which has built more than 100 rental-only communities in the last 5 years. Only communities, rentals. According to the National Association of Home Builders, there's 13,000 new single-family homes started as rentals in the first quarter of this year, up 63% from a year ago, right? We see the trends. Homes built for rent still represent 5% of the home building market, but that's up from just 2.7% historical average, according to the association. In Mooresville, North Carolina, about 30 miles north of Charlotte, American Homes for Rent's newest development includes more than 220 rental homes with access to amenities including pool and fitness centers. Landscaping and maintenance is included in the rent. That's generous. Jake and Stephanie Murphy, who were able to work remotely since the pandemic, are among those who relocated to the community after selling their home in California they could afford to buy, but opted to rent a 4-bedroom home for $2,400 a month, right? We're just not sure about the housing prices. We will really stay where they are currently, so we didn't want to buy at the peak, and we have to have them go down in a couple years, right? The number of rentals is now falling slightly as some smaller landlords sell their homes at the top of these pricing markets, right? Now, this is what's going to happen. It's a very unfortunate situation here. So People think, a lot of people are under the impression that this could never happen in America, because America, the middle class, the American dream was owning a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a white picket fence. That was the American dream, and the American dream is getting pulled out, and it's too hard to face the reality that in the next 5 years, 10 years, a large block of America's housing will be owned by corporations. A large block. I would probably guess somewhere around 75 to 80% of all houses will probably be owned by large corporations in the next 5 to 7 years, right? And so it's up to us to make smart financial decisions today to ensure that our lives are not, based around that. Our children's lives are not based around that. Our families are protected and isolated from this type of renter nation, where imagine you work your whole life and then all you have is, a rental bill at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, right? You don't want that. Or at least I couldn't imagine you do. Right now, corporate America's dream for you is simple. They want you to be the literal lord of your life. They want you permanently shackled into a generational subscription, right? Here's what so it's very interesting too, because they have no other option. The currencies are dying. Fiat currencies are getting absolutely pummeled right now. And so what are they going to invest in? If everything's going to be going down, they're going to want to buy starter homes. Little 3-bedroom houses, price points between like $200,000 and $450,000. They want to buy these properties because if you think about it, the rental supply, the available pool of buyers right now that are on the sidelines, they're going to be more likely to rent as interest rates go up. Right? As people get priced out of their adjustable rate mortgages, they might not be able to buy again. So they're going to be renting. Everyone that's renting right now will likely, might be renting for a little while. And so over time, there's going to be more upward demand on these rentals. And as there's more demand, they're going to have more pricing power to increase rents. So we're going to start to see so much of this story unfold over the next, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's going to get crazy, right? It's pretty nuts to me that this is actually allowed to the capacity in which it's going to be, right? It's one thing if, you're a corporation, you want to buy houses, okay. But when you have, 10 or 20 or 30 corporations that own a majority of the housing stock, that essentially can dictate and determine the quality of your life. Because if they're like, okay, well, universal basic income, you're making $2,000 a month, what's to stop these corporate landlords from saying rent's $1,850, right? What's to stop them from saying rent's $1,500? They can essentially control how you live if they control your house, right? And the universal basic income is coming. It's in 23 cities and states right now. It's all over the place. They're moving in this direction. Stimulus was the test pilot for this. We're moving in this direction, no doubt about it. The question I have for you is, what do you think about it? Do you like the idea of corporations taking over America's housing? I'm really curious about it. Drop your comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. I'm going to respond to everybody in the comments section. And subscribe. Also subscribe to my second YouTube channel. It's going to be an interactive show and a podcast starting this upcoming week. It's going to be a call-in show where I'm going to be able to talk to people. It's going to be really, really cool, really connect with everybody. And LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. This whole thing, everything's in the banner. But this whole thing, it's just so absolutely crazy to me how the narrative has just switched over the last 2 years. From we didn't really hear so much about the corporations buying up all the houses. Sure, we heard of Invitation Homes, couple, large companies doing, some transactions, but now it's such massive transactional volume to where it seems like there's only one way forward, and it's going to be through large corporations owning massive blocks of American housing. Drop it below. Let's talk about it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.